Hey dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Today I have some interesting controversy with the whole military enlistment and why people believe they may or may not get the exemption with the new president. I also want to get into HYBE talking about a future performance that they didn't do. So hate it or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumpling, tea spilling mug merch, and let's get into it. So it's around election season, at least for the other countries outside of America. I think everyone thinks that the whole world has the same election cycle, but it varies so much that there's likely 2 or even 3 or more presidential elections that can happen in a year from the various different countries in the world. South Korea is one that just had a new president and the old one has stepped down. This is typically not going to be anything that affects the landscape of K-pop, but as the previous years have come and gone, K-pop has become very political, and one of Korea's national pride is BTS. This is a big issue as when entertainment goes political, there's a lot of misunderstanding and there's a lot of fans who just want the best for BTS without thinking of the political stuff or even what might be best for the country. Of course, I am likely in that boat too, but I will get more into this stuff later. There was previously a debate on who will perform at the presidential inauguration. People assumed that it was going to be BTS, or at least one of the performers will be. Because I mean, that's pretty obvious why. It's either going to be BTS or Blackpink, as these are the biggest acts. And if it was Blackpink, they likely wouldn't be able to do any of their songs, as all of their songs are EDM, and that may not be appropriate for a presidential thing. But I was thinking maybe just they'd sing the national anthem or something. However, Blackpink surprisingly was not considered, but BTS was rumored to be there. And there became this huge backlash that the new elect president was using BTS for clout. What the heck is this claim? The president is using BTS for clout? A literal president has more clout than any celebrity will ever have. Their name will never die, especially if they change laws or anything that impacts the world dramatically. They will be referenced forever. There is no need for them to have additional clout, and for what? He's already won the election. That's why they're having the inauguration. But anyway, the presidential team had to come out and talk about this controversy previously, as the president is inaugurated now, so we're quite aware that BTS didn't perform, but because people were so upset at the time, they had to address it at the time. They basically said that BTS will not be performing as they don't have the budget for big idols like BTS. I did think this claim was strange, but maybe the laws and rules are quite different in Korea, but in the American inauguration, like with Beyonce, Gaga, Katy Perry all singing at the American inaugurations, they don't get paid, similar to not getting paid to perform at the Super Bowl. However, it still benefits the artist as their name gets bigger and they get associated with a different crowd. An older generation that may just tune in to see the inauguration may or may not be familiar with the younger artists and would then say, hey, so-and-so's got a good voice, I'm gonna go buy their stuff. HYBE did respond at the time to say that they were not going to have BTS perform and give the spot to younger artists and smaller children and just people who may need the spotlight more. I think this is so noble and kind for HYBE to do, because I honestly believe if BTS or HYBE wanted to take that spotlight, they could easily charge nothing for the performance and just do it and have even more people look at them. But it's noble for BTS and HYBE to be like, BTS has already broken so many records and will already go down in history as one of the best boy bands, so give the spot to an upcoming artist. It's not them physically giving the spot away, but it's not them taking it, which is most important, because they can totally do that. So do you think HYBE should have taken away that future performance of BTS at the time? Do you think HYBE should have allowed BTS to do it for free? Or do you think the inauguration would have been better to not have BTS perform? I am curious to know. So with the new president-elect, there was immediately the pressure that was put on him in the last 24 hours to start the exemption process for BTS. The previous president put in kind of a notice for immediate attention to this issue, as they don't have much time before BTS will have to enlist if the law doesn't change. But there's been a lot of conversation online on President Moon and his actions. People were saying that he is under investigation for things and just a lot of bold claims that I can't find too much information on at all. So I don't believe in that. I did see the articles of the former President Moon pardoning someone in jail, which I can see is a bit of a more controversial thing to do. I don't follow Korean politics that closely to know every detail, but this is what has been reported. People were claiming that President Moon had done some illegal things, which again, I don't know what those things are. They're just claims to me right now. Unrelated to the president, just a side note, I feel like every public figure has been accused of doing illegal activities like under the table stuff, and then they get other big claims like them being a pedo. Stop with these claims if there's no evidence. I don't see those particular claims against the former president, but please stop those claims in general if there is not a single person that has come out and confirmed or provided any proof. It only desensitizes the term, and when it actually does happen, people will brush it off. But anywho, going back, because of the alleged claims, people were saying that President Moon doesn't actually have any credibility, in which case this would hurt BTS's exemption law that he was intending to pass, or people believe that the new president wouldn't honor the old president's law because of the claims. So if you're unaware of most democratic governments, the president writes the law and then people will have to vote for or against it. If the people voting don't like whoever wrote the new law, they usually vote against. Not even because they hate the law, but just because they're scared that if they support the law, they're supporting that person and or their decisions. There's also loopholes that are often written into laws, in which case if you don't trust the person who wrote it, you wouldn't vote for that law. And most of us won't sit there and read the law to see if there are any loopholes before voting. And even if we did, the legal terms would be hard to understand because most of us are not lawyers. So there are theories that the new president will not prioritize this, and then also, given that BTS did not perform at the inauguration, the new president may not feel like this is something they care about. And understandable, right? There's definitely very pressing issues probably left over, either about COVID or other things. Even if BTS contributes a big part of the South Korean economy, BTS mostly contributes to the tourism part. However, tourism isn't exactly what South Korea cares about right now. The quarantine process still exists there to discourage people from traveling there. However, there is still no official statement yet. This is just a concern that a lot of fans are having right now. I do personally think that BTS is priority for them, even if the current president is like, I don't want to deal with this. There's still so many people below the new president that probably has gotten the process started to exempt BTS and still needs an answer, to which case it will likely be top of mind for the new president. I think there will still be a big chance for this exemption, and we shouldn't lose hope on it. Previously, they were talking about only doing a 4-week thing for BTS's enlistment, and I think this is still on the table. I think whatever happens, BTS will still get a lot of hate from the non-fans, because if BTS only gets 4 weeks, people claim that BTS is getting special treatment or that BTS has already gotten special treatment for being allowed to not enlist for this long. If they get a complete exemption, people will just say that BTS is not loyal to their country and insult them for that. However, it never makes any sense why this is a claim. I'm not trying to sound ungrateful, but if the country is forcing you to do something you never gave consent to, like the harsh training you go through in the military, then why exactly are you loyal to this? If push came to shove and we were going to war, people in America who have been trained are obligated to fight in that war. While I understand that is fair, you can't expect everyone to just be okay with that. Some people enlisted in the American military simply because they felt like they had no choice but had to enlist to be able to afford a college education. They didn't do it because they wanted to fight in a war and possibly die. So then you blame them for running away than fighting a war? Who wants to fight a war? But if you do, then you're called a coward or an insult to the country. But this is just me rambling. I do want to hear your thoughts. Do you believe that BTS should do it, or do you believe that they should not go to the military? And also, do you think that this is something that is a priority with the new president and they will take the former president's request to continue the process for BTS's exemption? Or do you think the new president might just throw out the law, not want to deal with it because the president may or may not like the old president? I am curious to hear your thoughts on this, and I know we're about to get political, but I am very curious to hear the debate. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thank you for this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.